So I saw Scott Pilgrim takes off the anime series on Netflix, which is a anime series that's based off the comic book series and the 2010 movie version of the same name, which we see the main characters as anime characters as Scott Pilgrim dates Ramona Flowers, but had to battle the evil Seven X's. So here is the review of the series, starting with the first episode, which the first episode begins with Scott Pilgrim walking all alone in the desert in his dream, who was actually voiced by Michael Cera, the actor who plays the main character, which he's actually seeing a girl of his dream, which she telling him to wake up, by which we see how it is a dream, which his roommate, Wallace Well, voiced by Kieran Culkin, as he telling him to find a girl of his dream, in which they do share an apartment together, which he actually leaves in the city of Toronto, Canada, where he's in the band called Sex Bomb, which his bandmates are Stephen Stills, the guitarist, voiced by Mark Webber, drummer Kim Hines, who used to be his ex, voiced by Allison Pill, in which joined by young Neil, who is Steven's roommate, voiced by Johnny Sampsons, Sammons, and Knife Show, who is Scott's high school girlfriend, who is voiced by Iron Wong, which she enjoys their music. And after the band, they head towards a party where they go their own ways, in which Scott made his own drink, which is orange juice and cola, which he doesn't drink alcohol, which he actually saw the girl of his dream named Ramona Flowers, voiced by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, which he talks to her about the things that he actually loves, which she actually find it interesting. So now he's trying to figure out who she is, but she was confronted by Julia Powers, who hates him, who is voiced by R.B. Palace, which she doesn't want Scott to talk to Ramona. So now we knew that she working collecting movies for Netflix, which the series actually is from, which he's renting a DVD, which Wallace suggests a movie which he's rating for her. So now he met Ramona, got his movie, and he asked her on a date, which they did on a park. Unbeknownst to them, they're actually spy on by Gillian Graves, who is voiced by Jason Schwartzman, which he calls on Matthew Patel, who is voiced by Saya Baba, which he is Ramona's first evil ex-boyfriend, which Gillian is the seventh, which we knew how they are actually knew about what's happening. So they're actually going to fight Scott, by which they're actually in the room where Scott and Ramona almost being intimate. But there actually is not. So he invited her to a concert on the building called Rocket. So they're about to play when Matthew actually enters the building and fights Scott, which Ramona reveals they actually dated after Jocks wanted her. So now they actually fight, which Matthew kills Scott, knowing of what he has won, which everyone has mixed reactions of it, which Romana is upset. It actually plays out as a reimagining of what the anime series is all about. So we saw Scott being the girl of his dreams, Ramona, but he has to battle the seven evil ex-boyfriends, starting with Matthew Patel, in which led by Gideon the Seventh. So we're actually going to see what's going to happen on the second episode right now, which Ramona dyes her hair just like in the movie and the comics, which she wearing all black to Scott's funeral, where everyone is upset that he is gone, which Knives blames her of Scott's death, which is completely unfair, which everyone actually knew of what's happened because we see how a celebrity has made her appearance, which is Envy Adams, Scott's other ex, who is voiced by Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, who was recently in the Marvels, which is a really good movie, where she sang a song about in Scott's funeral. But the evil exes have received an invitation of a cocktail dinner where they all meet, which Lucas Lee, voiced by Chris Evans, Captain America, and then who is the second ex, who's met Ty Ingram, the third, voiced by Brandon Walsh, who also have vegan powers, which telekinesis and like Super Saiyan, which they are actually met with Roxy Richer, voiced by Mae Whiteman, in which they saw the robot, who's created by the Kakinaki twins, Kyle and Ken, voiced by Julian Shi, which in the movie version, the twins Shota and Kita Sato, who's in the non-speaking role in the movie, but now they actually have a voice actor playing the twins. But the one who invited the exes is Matthew, who say that he's judging Gideon's leadership, so he battles him for the role of leader, as well as taking over his company and his business, which he has won. So we knew how he has taken over his life, which everyone now rejects him as his leader, which he has nothing. So now he's all alone. But in the dream, we saw Ramona say that Scott is still alive. So we knew how the twins, who is voiced actor is revealed, where they and the other exes are actually meeting, where Matthew had battled Gillian for the title of leader of the League of Evil Exes, where he took over his life. But Ramona have actually say that Scott is still alive. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen on the third episode right now. So the third episode show young Neil writing a screenplay, but knowingly how he didn't actually write any play to begin, knowing of how he didn't write it. But one night he actually has wrote the screenplay, but we can tell how he has done it overnight. But the next scene show Ramona actually dye her hair again, but this time red and yellow, went to a coffee shop where Stacy and Julie actually work, where we knew that she needed answers, which Julie have come up with a list of suspects after hearing Scott is not dead, which she headed back to the rocket, see the security footage of Scott being pulled, which this is actually an amazing. So she gave out the list of names, which is Stephen, who she used to date, then Neil, and Ivory Adams. And the one suspect that he didn't talk to was Kim, who she actually dated Scott long ago. But we see how she teach Knives how to play bass, which impressed Stephen, knowing how she will be late for work as she has working in a video store, which she talked to Ramona about what's happened, but they're actually interrupted after the story of how she dated Scott, which in the Adult Swim special, who saved her from a rival high school, where they are interrupted by Roxy, who she fought Ramona in a fight through the videos in which she revealed that they are used to date, naming her the fourth evil ex, which she is actually getting ready to reveal how she used to meet in college, but she left before. But she apologized for leaving her, but she never meant to hurt her, and she accepted the apology, which she have actually decided to forgive her. But in the emotional support, but Kim kissed Roxy, which we didn't notice before, but Julie have left to her home, which she bumped into Gillian, whose real name is Gordon Goose, who she recognized as Fearless, who told her that he lost everything after his battle with Matthew, in which Julie have invited him to her house. So we see more details of what happened to Scott, by which we see how he isn't dead, and then the battle between her and Roxy, which is Ramona, is begun, and then Julie have developed a relationship with Gillian, whose real name is Gordon, is actually plays out. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen on the fourth episode right now. So the fifth episode actually showed Lucas Lee in his California mansion with his collection of skateboards and a broken one, knowing of how he is a high profile actor, but we can tell how he only cares about himself. But he got a call from his agent about his box office bombs and the fact that he cannot read a script because he remembers them, but he is warned that he will lose everything if he continues to mess up. So we knew how he flying to Toronto for a role of a movie where we knew how he is going to play, which Ramona dye her hair once again to green and light green colors. So we knew how she is going to confront Lucas. So she sneaked into the studio where the security guard, whose guest voice is Simon Pegg, who's Banshee in Mission Impossible movies, which they stop a crowd of Lucas Lee fans, which young Neil is actually the screenwriter where she met Lucas in his trailer playing Scott, who actually is a movie that based on the fight if he were defeat Matthew, which we knew that Wallace actually is in the studio where he becomes an actor in the role. But knowing how Lucas read the script for the first time, he was actually confronted by Ramona, who actually is revealed that the actress who plays Knives is a high school girl, but the paparazzi ninja have made it into the set, getting ready to confront Lucas. But we can tell how he battles them. But we see how Ramona helps him, remembering the past, becoming her second boyfriend, which he fell and helps him with his injuries. That is when he saw Ramona with Todd, knowing of how she had broken his heart. So she helped him once again to escape the paparazzi, in which he calls his agent, dropping him as his client, and he was out of the movie. So now he actually going to do what he loved best, being a skateboarder, which he didn't kidnap Scott. But at the end of the episode, we see Todd show up, even though he is a vegan with mythical powers. We see him going to audition as Scott, which Ramona realized that it could be Todd who could kidnap Scott due to the fact that she using his vegan powers to kidnap Scott. So we knew how the past between Ramona and Lucas is shown, which we see how they are actually shown to be a romantic date. But we're going to see what's going to happen on the fifth episode right now. So the fifth episode of where they doing a documentary of the movie they're about to do, where we see how Envy and Todd are talking about their roles, in which Neil, who actually questioning about their methods which they're making out in front of the crew. But Wallace have actually suggested a new changes involving him and Todd, which of course being intimate with each other. So we knew how they actually are in love, which Envy is jealous, marching to Wallace, who actually getting ready to attack him for dating Todd, which he has his stunt doubles when she only has one, which is Ramona. So she forced her to battle Wallace and his stunt double, which they actually fight, which of course they've been defeated. So now they're actually going to talk to Todd, which in the past he punched a hole in the moon. So they made it to his trailer, eating chili cheese fries, breaking his vegan pledge. So now we knew how this is where he told everyone about his relationship with Wallace. So she questions him about Scott's kidnapping, but he has nothing to do with it. So now we see that she has no lead, by which Ramona fired after Envy. Ramona quits after Envy fires her, by which Matthew appeared, firing everyone, which shutting the movie down, in which he gave his business card to Steven and Knives, talking about a new business opportunity that they're actually going to have. So now we see what they're going to do with a new gig, which Ramona talks to him about Scott not dead and someone kidnaps him, which we see how she is confronting him about that. So we knew that she didn't talk to Julie, who's now in the same room as Gideon, aka Gordon. So now she gets to talk to Julie for a purpose. So now that we actually knew that Julie may have something to do with the kidnapping, but we see a special appearance by Rear Al Yankovic. So we're actually going to see what she has to do with Scott's kidnapping. So we're going to see what's going to happen on the 6th episode right now, which there's only 3 episodes left. So we knew that this episode showed Gideon, who's Gordon, talking to Lucas, whose real name is Luke, which he actually needed a place to crash, in which they begin to become friends while they're actually hanging out, making a mess, watching anime, in which Julie is angry, which earlier she actually talking to Ramonda, who changed his hair once again. So now we see how they're actually talking of where Scott is. So we knew how they're actually trying to figure out what's actually is happening. So she didn't deny anything because she didn't do it. In which Stacy have eavesdropping on their conversation, which Stacy has a day off. But now she came back, actually saw the Howls in a mess, so she getting ready to fight them. But Ramona stopped her after telling her about Gideon's past, in which they both have similar pasts of meeting Gideon, in which they've actually saw the robot that were following, which she recognized where that robot is, in which the group has said that Matthew Batal have actually made a deal with them, in which it wasn't the script that Neil didn't wrote. So the group have met up with Ramona about where the robot came from. It is actually the twins who she met in college years, in which she actually played them. So now we actually see where this is all actually is, where it's a vegan robot with vegan powers. But the biggest twist is where Scott had made his return, shocking everyone where we knew that someone has been kidnapping him, which he revealed to be himself who kidnapped himself. So Ramona actually knew that it was the twins who created a first vegan robot, but the shock is two, which Scott made his return, and he revealed that it was himself that kidnapped himself during the fight with Matthew. Now everyone was shocked, but we knew how this could be another plot twist that's going to happen. So we're going to see what's going to happen on the seventh episode right now because there's two episodes left. So this episode actually revealed of what happened to Scott, which he actually was kidnapped by the future of himself, which is 37 years old, into the future, which the title To Scott to Pilgrim, which is almost a reference of the Too Fast, Too Furious movie, which is a Fast and Furious title. So we take him a tour of the future city of Toronto, Canada, in which he actually lived in a house where he's shown a VR set of his life, but it all went downhill when he told him that he shouldn't date Ramona, which he is actually is also revealed to live with a robot that the twins have made, which he actually heard of Wallace telling him to go back in time to never date Ramona, in which that's how he would in time, which the robot would have ceased to exist. So we saw the old Wallace 39 years ago, 39 years old, which he is dating, he was married to his husband who works at Nintendo, in which we knew that they were really bad for each other. So we knew how Ramona is actually still around, which he actually meet with her. So she also had a time machine, made parts of a DeLorean using skates. So she helped him get back in time, which Wallace calls his husband. So they made it back in time, which old Ramona is still around. So now they actually say goodbye to her when she left, which Nice give Scott his jacket back, which we see how she got over what happened and decided not to date him. But we see how they didn't kiss, which Scott and Ramona, meaning that they have unfinished business with the evil exes. So they say that they all gathered around for the play. So this could be the final battle that we're going to see. Now this is where the plot actually happens, when Scott is revealed to be himself 37 years old in the future, where he kidnapped himself to prevent him of dating Ramona. But through the robot's eye, he still saw that she's still looking for him. So now we see what's going to happen when we're going to see the final battle happens on the final episode. So the final episode of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off actually going to reveal what's going to happen. So we're going to see how this series ends. The final episode begins with the fact that the evil X's are gathered around, knowing that Scott is preparing to fight them, but they don't have no interest in fighting him. So there's no love force field between them, which the play has begun, which there is someone who caused him the force field, which is actually the older version of Scott, who was 47 years old, which we knew how he have gathered everyone around, so he's going to fight them. But Gideon actually told him that they don't have no interest in fighting Scott. So all of them decide to fight him with the older version of Scott altogether, which they are blowing them back to their original place, which Ramona and Scott are battling him, which he said to let him live his own life, which he said that if he does, he'll go back the way he is, all alone. But we knew how the older version of Ramona appeared, so we knew how she said that she doesn't want to make it work, knowing how she wanted her space, in which she realized of all the times that the exes have been heartbroken due to the fact that she actually hurt them. So now we see what she has to do, which she chooses the older version of herself, sending his younger self back. Older self back to the future to clean up the mess that he made, which we see how the play still goes on as it is a success. So like how the culprits doing the bombing are Gordon and Julie, knowing of how Matthews said he lost millions. So they decided to switch back, reverting back to their evil ways. So now we see how everyone else going back to the way they are, which Knives has joined the band, in which the evil X's are doing their own thing, which Ramona is now joined the group. So the episode ends with a tribute to Doug Sherwood, the assistant of the comic book series, which the series has ended. So I really love how this is the reimagining of the entire anime series, which there's no fighting the evil X's, but there is actually a lot of plot twists. Plus, we see the main cast returns as the voice of their characters, but one change is the voice actor who's doing the twins is really impressive. So I cannot wait to see what more Netflix have had to offer as well, which I really love this anime series as well as the One Piece live action series. So anyway, like this video, subscribe for more, and comment what you think about the series You guys can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and my Facebook page and Twitch. Until then, this is Anime God Runner here saying signing out. Laters and be safe.